Yeah, it was like they're like, yeah, we want to tell this historical story about the black samurai. Kind of boring though. Where's that box of anime stuff? Let's just sprinkle that all over this.
They went. When you talk about stereotypes with Japan, when you talking about, because what happened? You go to Japan, what the first thing you talk about, man, where the robots at? They ain't helping with that stereotype here. Those fools put robots in feudal Japan. Hey everyone, support our Patreon, which helps us to continue bringing you our live streams, videos, and podcasts while bringing you new content such as exclusive live streams and animated shorts. Yasuke is an actual black samurai back in feudal Japan, 1579. Of course, he was a slave.
Yeah. Well.
Of course, he was, and I guess when you had somebody doing transactions with Japan, they brought a slave over. They just didn't know how badass that slave was. Got over there, Japan started kicking ass, and them Japanese looked at him and was like, well, shit, you should be a samurai. Let me get you this sword over here in these robes and his mask and everything. But yeah, he was an African man that arrived in Japan as a servant of an Italian by the name of Jesuit, the Italian of a Jesuit missionary named Alessandro Vigliano. They call him Yasuke. Anyway, he was a bodyguard to a big samurai over there, Oda Nobunaga. Eventually, he made history as far as we know, the only black samurai. Now there might be more out there, but he was the one. He was the man at the time.
Take that, Tom Cruise.
Exactly. The last samurai was actually black as fuck. Maybe that was Tom Cruise in blackface. They whitewashed him with Tom Cruise over there, man. This was a story, if you've heard of it before, that's because Chadwick Boseman was slated to play this character in a movie.
Oh, in an actual live action movie?
In an actual live action movie.
Ah.
Of course, tragically, we've lost Chadwick Boseman, so that did not happen. But hey, there's a trade-off here. We got an anime, and instead of Chadwick Boseman, we have everybody else's favorite black guy out there, Lakeith Stanfield.
That feels like a trade that went bad.
I like Lakeith. I know you don't like Lakeith Stanfield.
No offense to Lakeith Stanfield. It's just that, like, man, we almost had a live action with Chadwick Boseman. Well, instead, though, we're going to give you an anime with Lakeith Stanfield.
Hey, anime is blowing up right now.
I understand.
Anime is huge. Anime almost beat out Mortal Kombat this weekend.
If I had my choice, though.
Yes.
I know I don't. Chadwick's not here anymore.
Well, some people say my choice is to have that anime out there. Martin Thomas. I've been waiting on that for a while, too. I have actually been waiting on this for a while once I heard of it.
Well, I'm glad we have an anime that can really tell the historical story and keep it accurate.
Oh, yeah, man, 100%. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 100% factual story of Yasuke.
You will always be a servant, no matter what armor you wear.
I serve no man.
So, just be forewarned that if you're looking for a history lesson, this is not history.
Oh, man, I got to go back to books?
Yeah, you got to read, man. This is not history. This is anime.
This is Sparta.
This is anime, and that means that you're going to get a lot of crazy shit. Now, I saw the trailer before this.
So you were prepared?
I came in here expecting history.
I did too, because the way it starts out,
yeah,
it was all about history.
People, and you too, we were hugely mistaken for that. The opening of the first episode, they already got mechs and robotics.
Yeah, I was like, I came to hear about the Black Samurai. I know about sorcerers and werewolves and giant people, and by robots.
They had mechs, robotics, and magic. And by the second episode, they had a Russian werebear.
Had a guy from Mortal Kombat.
They had a dude from Mortal Kombat. They had Ghost, and they had a robot. And I'm not talking about some steampunk shit.
No.
They had, and tell me if I missed something here, people, they had a robot that had, y'all got to keep in mind, this is feudal Japan, y'all.
Yeah. Well.
And they had they had a robot with technology that ain't even been invented for today.
Yeah, it's the stuff Apple's working on right now.
Yeah, it even got fonts that weren't invented back then. This shit came out of a factory.
Yeah, it was like, they're like, yeah, we want to tell this historical story about the black samurai. Kind of boring though. Where's that box of anime stuff? Let's just sprinkle that all over this.
They went. When you talk about stereotypes with Japan, when you talking about, because what happened? You go to Japan, what the first thing you talk about, man, where the robots at? They ain't helping with that stereotype here. Those fools put robots in feudal Japan. He shoots heat and ice blast out of his hands. One time he blasted some people cold and looked at the screen and said, "Ice cold." Even one other character's like, "Shut the fuck up."
Yep.
Now, I was looking to, because I said, all right, well, you know what? Because people, you pretty much had a fucking superhero team. It was the Japanese Avengers that came
Big
out.
Hero 6.
Yeah. And I said, all right, well, I'm waiting for them to say, I was waiting for them to say, all right, we're from another dimension, or we've traveled through time to help you, Black Samurai. They didn't explain shit.
Nobody was even, everyone in the village, in that little poor village, was nonplussed by all these super beings showing up.
They did not. Even one of them said, hey, did you see the robot? They used the term, wasn't even invented yet. Did you see the big robot that saved the village? I was like, okay, am I an asshole for asking why? Because did they explain this, or did I miss?
No. They just showed up.
Hey, we're here.
Because it had me going, oh, okay.
Yeah, because I know a lot. Listen, I know a lot of anime fans.
Listen, if you were to watch anime, you would know this kind of thing happens all the time, and you guys are just old and you don't get it.
Yes, that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. And I'm going to even tell you something. It gets crazy because before the series is over, they got the Catholic Church in there.
Yep.
They got demon fights. By the end, it's just a creature feature. I do think that this shit is insane. But some people who like anime, they're used to it,
yeah.
Anime for me is a tricky thing because I do think anime is a culture where people, they have accepted things that would not usually be accepted in shows and movies. Because you're talking to somebody who loves or who had loved anime. I loved anime because it was more adult. It was an alternative to the kid animation that we had here in America. So I accepted it on its terms, and I still have to do that. But I'm just letting you know that it's two different people. This meant, as they say, this is for the culture. Because if you were into anime, then you accept a lot. Because if you really want to know the truth, and it's not cool to say, but I get because anime is such a culture, they're very protective of it. But I will say that there's some things in anime that I don't like, but I let it slide because I accept anime for what it is. I think the animation can be very choppy, except for when they're getting into like the action.
Yeah.
But then we see that with American stuff, so I let that slide. I think when they're talking, a lot of it is lip flap. They don't do it in proper mouth movements. I know I'm getting technical here and getting real. You know, I'm getting real nitpicky with stuff. Anime is never like in the middle, except for a few exceptions. One of the things I like about Miyazaki's animation is that those characters have moments where they feel like people.
I had such a missing of Miyazaki when I watched this.
Yeah, because with a lot of anime, it's either very serious or extremely over the top.
Yeah,
and there's not a lot of
some
dramatic
in between,
middle ground,
but not much.
This is why I can't really get into it, but I understand, and I am into some anime, but I understand why they love it, and so that's why I'm making a distinction here. You know, if you go into this expecting like a historical lesson, it's not. But with all the stuff that anime is into, anime fans will walk into this and they'll be fine with it. You know, and I do think that there are a lot of cool things. The action is cool. I think the story is kind of cool, even if it's highly exaggerated, because this is a fantasy. This is not historical. And I think a lot of people who grew up with anime, especially a lot of people of color, they're like, man, you know what? I grew up in anime and I did not see myself represented. I don't expect to see myself represented because it's a foreign culture that's producing it. And honestly, there's not a lot of great images of us historically in anime. There's a lot of actually very offensive images.
I
of
mean,
us.
it's a black character who doesn't have white lips, so that's a big plus right there.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand why people looking at this, and I'm supportive of it. I'm like, this is kind of cool. They made something that's a fantasy. I've always said I love to see more people in fantasy, more people of color, black people in fantasy, and I look at it and I'm thinking like, all right, this is where they've done it. This is in feudal times, before slavery really hit in America, and they address it. They constantly say like, hey, no matter what you do, no matter how badass you are, your black ass still gonna be a slave.
Yeah.
You're still gonna be a servant, and they say that without beating the message in. So as a fun anime, I think people will be fine with this. But I brought up those things with anime that I say that might put some people off because not everybody. I don't think this is as accessible to everybody out there if you're not an anime fan.
Right.
Go ahead, though. I'm sorry.
No, I was not. I did not show up here tonight expecting to agree with you on so many things. I never know. I was like, we're probably gonna have to fight for these points I want to make, but shit. Leaving me speechless. Yeah, it is. But I would say this: like, I'm not a big anime fan, but I'm not a hater, and there's plenty of it that I watch, and I get that. I was turned off to this in as much as how it does start as that historical drama that you think it's going to be, and it's exaggerated in an anime way. So it changes from what it was. It was almost like they had something solid and just couldn't commit to it. And to that point, there's a lot of people. It's a big thing now to criticize movies like Soul and Princess and the Frog because it's that. Yeah. How come we can't have a black character that stays? They don't get transformed into something.
Yeah.
And here, while our main character, our black character, doesn't get transformed, what is his story? He's the title character about the black samurai, what he has to deal with. About 2.5 episodes in, it gets hijacked away from him, and it's all about the little magic girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, they so didn't believe in this that they just let everything else come into the forefront where he's just sort of there. Lakeith Stanfield's fine. He's not doing anime acting. He's just voice act. He's acting where a lot of the other characters are doing that over the top anime acting. Yeah. So it makes him seem quiet. But I was like, if everybody was on his level, this could work better.
Yeah, it was about the 4th episode that I thought that Lakeith Stanfield, I was like, all right, now I really feel like he's natural here. I thought, and probably you didn't feel this way, but I did think they kept him at the forefront. Like I said, man, and plus the animation is like I'm not going to nitpick on animation because I like good animation, but I understand that entertaining people is more important. I think the animation is about as good as Invincible, the superhero show, and a lot of people just like the storytelling in that. I thought the backgrounds here were amazing.
That's true.
I thought these backgrounds were beautiful.
They are.
Like I said, man, I don't know how many people are gonna go into this, how many people are gonna watch this, but as I said, if you just go in knowing that it's an anime, and you know what to look for. And I'm not saying just an anime. It's not like Miyazaki or anything like this. It's extreme anime. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It gets fucking crazy. They don't explain shit. They don't care. Giant ass robot.
And I know throughout anime when something doesn't make sense, people will say like, well, that's part of the history. That giant robot is not.
I'm sorry, man. That giant, and I don't want to keep just harping on that, but that giant robot was the one thing that threw me off. I can accept all of this. I can accept demons and Japanese supernatural elements.
Right, you can go, okay, folklore.
Yeah,
sure.
I can accept steampunk.
Yeah.
But that motherfucker showed up with radar
with the word prototype on his chest.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry, this is the only thing that's taking me out of this. I love the music here, man. It's something about black people just love Asian culture.
Well, it's got a bit of a Samurai Champloo vibe to it.
Yeah, it does. That's because they got another guy that's done. He's a DJ and a hip hop guy and a beats guy, Flying Lotus. Who I love Flying Lotus. Flying Lotus. I've seen this guy 3 times. I love his music. He's so eclectic. He's made his own film. He's a true artist, man. I mean, his music is not just hip hop. I mean, a lot of it is ambient, electronic, trip hop, if that's still a thing. He's very eclectic, man, and the music and it added really to the mood. It did take me back to. You're exactly right. It did take me back to a Samurai Champloo sort of thing, and I really liked it, man. The mood he sets for it really is nice for the series, and the music alone could bring you back in. At least for me, I like what he did with this a lot, man. It's so directed towards anime fans. And it's kind of, like I said, it's funny to see how black culture and anime is just continuously over the years, it's merging.
Merging, yeah.
Because you had like Afro Samurai,
yeah, right.
Wu-Tang Clan, you know. It's something about when blacks grew up watching kung fu movies and watching anime. They just love it, man. And those things are merging a lot. And for those people who love that, I think this will work. If you love anime, this will work. Oh, wow, that animation picked up, didn't it? That animation looks good. Man, that Black Samurai looks
so realistic.
Wow. I notice how much you like Michael B. Jordan. If you're into any of those things, I think this will work for you. If you are a casual anime fan, or if you don't like anime at all, this is not you. Be forewarned again. If you've heard about this, the Black Samurai show, and you're going into this thinking that you're going to get some historical series, it is not that. And if you don't like anime, it's going to piss you off. So, that being said, I give this a matinee. I mean, because this is it is specifically made for an audience, and I think that audience will be satisfied.
I will go with a low matinee because of something you brought up, but I thought also is that despite how I feel about it, if you're a young black kid watching anime, you never see yourself, especially as the hero, and this is great for that.
You don't see like. Well, I was starting to say something, but I guess some big studios were about to do it before Chadwick Boseman died. And they might still do it. But hey, this is out there first. And I think you will, a lot of people, you nailed it, man. A lot of black kids will watch this and watch this with pride.
Hey, if I was growing up and this came on, I'd be all over it.
Yeah. Somebody challenged me to watch Bleach. I have actually watched Bleach. Bleach is.
Did you want to bleach your eyes?
Yeah, I wanted to bleach my fucking brain. No, I used to watch Bleach because it was on
Toonami.
Toonami, and I would watch it every night when it was on. So you'd be surprised at how much anime I've actually watched.